Sunshine's Corner, brought to you by Pensacola Parks and Recreation.
And a very pleasant good morning to you. It's Wednesday. You know what I like to call it. It's hump day. And of course, we do something on Wednesdays that we should be doing every day of our lives. That's being inspired by things that can help us make a better step toward the future. I am your host, Sunshine, and we've got a great show as always lined up for you. Information you need. We call this the safe place that you can talk about the things that you don't want to talk about. Right here on Sunshine's Corner. But remember, I always try to have you inclusive in the show because with you, we make the show complete. Now, we've got a guest today that I know that you're going to have questions. You want to be a part of it because such great things that he's doing. But keep this in mind now. Tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody else that, look, it's time. That show is on the air right about now at Blab TV. And remember this number, 850-432-7768. You can call us or you can text that number if you've got questions about the topics that we're going to be talking about today, which is very much so inspirational. Before I go any further, let me say, I welcome this young man with me because, wow, I have known him for quite some time now, and believe me, the things that he has done deserves a great big round of applause. I want to welcome Mr. Jermaine Williams in with me today. Good morning, Jermaine.
Good morning, good morning. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, but of course, I mean, who couldn't? When they know your name and the things that you're doing, listen to this, guys. This man's even about to do a movie. But anyway, we'll get to that later.
Yes, ma'am.
No doubt. But Jermaine, I want to say thank you because I think that you've got so much to share. And with May being Mental Health Awareness Month and all the things that you do in that area to help others, I want to start from the beginning.
Yes, ma'am.
So that we can show people the elevation where you have come and where you are now and yet going.
Yes, ma'am.
And now just share that so that we can help people who may not know what to do in a situation like that.
Yes, ma'am. Well, you know, first off, again, thank you for having me.
Always.
But I was addicted to cocaine for 13 years, and I'm entering my 9th year of sobriety.
Oh, God.
Yes, ma'am. That's all. It was God. That's, you know. And, you know, during that time, I say about my first 90 days of sobriety, I still was acting like I was on drugs. So to other people, it was kind of hard for them to believe, you know, that I was sober. And it was right when I got a mental health evaluation and I was diagnosed with bipolar 2, intermittent explosive disorder, and complex PTSD, and I started to treat those things. And when those the treatment started to take root, that's when everyone knew that I was off of drugs.
Really?
Yes,
So you
ma'am.
said you had 3 at once?
Yes, ma'am. And that's common. That's common.
Oh, really?
A dual diagnosis, or you know what dual diagnosis will be too, but to have different, you know, diagnosis at the same time. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Now, when you say you were addicted to cocaine for 12 years.
13.
Oh, excuse me, 13 years,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
you have been through sobriety now for what, 9?
In November.
November be 9. That 9 is 9 years, honey. Right around the corner.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, but how easy is it to get addicted?
Oh, it's very easy. And, you know, most people look down on drug addiction, but we all have addiction. There's shopping addiction, there's eating addiction. So addiction is addiction.
Exactly.
Yes, ma'am. So, but it's really easy, especially when you have a undiagnosed mental illness.
Right.
So what I learned by even just telling you that story is that I was self-medicating for things that I didn't know I had.
Really?
So the cocaine was easing the symptoms of my bipolar 2 or intermittent explosive disorder or the PTSD. So, you know, whenever you find addiction in the drug sense,
Right.
you're gonna find a root. Addiction is the symptom of a mental illness. It's a cough to the cold.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Get out of here. Now, you said you had
Intermittent explosive disorder.
Now, what is that?
Okay, so this is the best way I can explain it. And when I go out to speak and certain things, this is how I explain it. So if you was to step on my shoe, I would treat it as if you spit in my face.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. And then, you know, after I calm down, I will over apologize. And then I will soak for like 2 weeks about it. So
Really?
it's a juvenile diagnosis, to be honest. It's really was founded for juveniles, and that's, you know, back then when I was untreated. A lot of people say I was acting childish, and that can explain why, because it's a juvenile diagnosis.
Get out of here.
Yes, ma'am.
That's amazing. I never heard that. And the next one was bipolar?
Bipolar 2.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And the PTSD, of course.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
But you know, when you say that, when you say bipolar,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a girlfriend right now that she was diagnosed with what she called it. Oh, she was bipolar, but she was taking this medication. But whenever she come off that medication, she go back.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Right. And I mean, but she was trying her best to do it without. Now she's still, but I know that I can tell when she's not on the medication. And she lives in Mobile. I go visit her still today to see how she's doing. Manic depression, that's what it was.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And it's like, I hear what you're saying, because some of the things now I've seen with her, and I've been friends with her for a long, long, long time. And but I won't let it down. Let her go. Let her think that I'm not there for her.
Yes, ma'am.
And because it came to be a part whereas even with her kids, it was a separation there. So that's a very strong illness, disease.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you don't treat it, it gets worse.
Yes, ma'am. I was on medication for about the first year. But I don't like being a slave to anything.
Right.
So, I was in therapy, intense therapy. And I worked with my therapist I told him, I said, hey, I want to get off this medication.
Right.
And he said, it's going to take a lot of work. And we went to work. It was about a good year. I call it a toolbox. I came up with a toolbox of things to do, because the intermittent explosive disorder was giving me the toughest time.
Really?
But the bipolar 2 with the intermittent explosive disorder, with those two together, I like to describe them like a hurricane going over warm water. And when they get together,
ooh, that's something.
Watch out. Yeah.
I mean, good God.
But what I did was I had a toolbox in case this happened, what to reach for. I lost some good jobs over that intermittent explosive disorder. One thing my family knows, if I get the interview, I get the job. But if you make me mad, that IED kicks in, I'm cussing everybody out. Back then, oh yeah,
wow.
But once I start to get that treated, now sometimes I have what my therapist will call a relapse of emotion. You're not going to be perfect, so the IED will, it'll pop up, but it won't be as bad, and the outbursts will be few and far in between.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, when you say like that, when you blow up, I mean, good God. And in the midst of that, do you feel what you're doing? You saying you don't want to do it, or it's just like, oh, I can't stop myself?
Well, now that since I've been dealing with it so long and been working on the problem, your body tells you when it's popping, when it's about to come. Whether it's your heartbeat, that feeling you have right here in your gut.
Yeah. When I get mad, I feel it.
Oh yeah. And what I like to do now, what helps me out, say like if I have a significant other, I would say, okay, I'm gonna say this, she's gonna say that, I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna be sleeping on the couch for a month. I play that whole thing out, and I say, you know what, ain't worth saying.
It ain't worth that.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God.
But it takes a lot of training to do, even though that seems so simple to do. But in the midst of those emotions, and then when it's a diagnosis, it's a hindrance. It's tough to do in the moment. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my goodness. Now, when you say the things that you hear, how you can narrate them in your mind, say, is it this worth this, or do I need to do this? When you find young people that I know you mentor a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
I gotta say this, because I even saw you guys when you all went in front of a school.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, when I saw that on social media, I thought that was so beautiful, how you gathered there to help with those kids. That was before they went to school, right? Before they went
that
in?
was during, and that was Willow Albrin, but he recruited me, and man, that was great.
I mean, when I saw that, I thought that was oh so wonderful, because I think sometimes some kids are lacking in some areas like for that love that they're looking for. I know how it feels when the father's not in the home, because I was divorced with my son, and you met my son.
Yeah.
And I mean, Lord, I had to get, I had to cluck with him a little bit,
right.
But thank God he's okay.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And I say that to say, with that, when you're talking to kids, what do you find that the most things that they deal with that cause them to be that little erratic child?
Well, I think it's childhood trauma, and some of trauma can be small or big, and there's this thing called ACEs scores, where you take and then it focuses on childhood trauma, and it you can Google ACEs scores, Advanced Childhood. I forgot the acronym. I'm sorry, but it's ACEs scores, and you could just take it, and it tells you how much of a risk you are for mental illness and different things.
Really?
And most of it is normally found in the Black community.
Is it really?
Yes, ma'am.
Why do you think so?
That's an even deeper conversation.
Really?
You know, yeah, it's really tough. You know what our people have been through, where we find ourselves.
Yes.
In. You know, it's systematic, and you know, like Chip Simmons had a roundtable discussion about gun violence. Everybody who was somebody there, from Lumen May to state representative, city council, and I spoke there, and I, you know, talked to them about mental illness, mental health, and like I told them, I tell you, if you take care or address the mental health or the mental illness in the community, no matter if you talk about gun violence, erratic behavior, you're going to take care of at least 70% of the problem.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. That's my opinion,
That's
and
amazing.
A lot of people share that opinion.
Really?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
therefore, then, are they willing now to address that?
The stigma,
I'm just asking those hard questions.
well,
I mean,
I think, well, I'm not sure. I know that Representative Salzman, I've met with her on a few occasions. I know she's very passionate. You know, a lot of our city council are.
Right.
I think the problem is, and this is my opinion, so the money in the state of Florida when it comes to mental illness, the way that flows from DCF. It's from DCF to the manager, well, the governor will write the check for whatever he puts out for the money he has on mental health, which is a big amount.
Really?
And then it goes to DCF, and DCF goes send that money to DCF manager entities. Ours is in this part of Florida. It's Northwest Florida Health System.
Right.
And then it's how they see fit to spend the money. And I'm not saying nothing positive or negative, but it's just, you know, to me, in my opinion, giving that money to the usual suspects, which is, you know, you have your Lake Views and different places like that, and they need to get that money. But we need to try new people with out-of-the-box thinking, because that's the only way that's going to eradicate and address the problem. And, you know, I know a lot of people who are out there doing the work with no funding. I'm one of them.
Come on now.
And, but, you know, we don't do it because of money or whatever. We, you know, I am, thank God I have people that volunteer their time. You know, I have my own private practice, and then I work for a place here in Pensacola.
Right.
So, you know, I have a waiting list with my private practice.
Really?
But I thank God for my partners. We make miracles happen for those that don't have insurance, because insurance in the health field is way different from insurance with mental illness and substance use. And we're talking, man, like, it's expensive.
Really?
Very expensive.
So if a person needs that help really bad, how can they get that help even if they don't have the insurance to get it? That's what I'm saying. Like, with
that's the problem we're going up against right now. I mean, you know, Lakeview, community health, those places, they help, but, you know, they help a lot. I don't want to minimize what they do, but there's a far more need.
Okay.
You know, the waiting list is crazy.
Really?
You know, like, I used to live in Jacksonville. I got sober in Jacksonville. Jacksonville is my second home. The resources they have in Jacksonville versus the resources we have here in Pensacola for mental illness and substance use, it's night and day. They are the haves and we are the have-nots.
Oh, I love that. The haves and have-nots.
Yes,
so,
ma'am.
I mean, but God, don't they, but with them seeing the issues that we deal with every single day in our community, don't they see that that's need that's there?
Yes, ma'am. It's a lot of politics involved as well, that we have an opioid abatement fund. Most states do. You know, the makers of opioids, their settlement, which was for a lot of money. And, you know, they had to disperse that throughout the 50 states, and we have one here. And, you know, every local entity, state entity, they manage it and disperse it differently. So I don't know exactly what they're doing here. I don't, you know, because I'm just at the point now to where, like, I don't even try to go after the money. I just keep doing the work.
You go out and do what you
just
can
do
do
the
to
work,
help.
and you know, do what I can, because I'm gonna have to answer for God what I can do with or
Amen.
without the money, and you know, I'd rather have God than the money anyway,
Come
because
on
He
now.
still always helps me.
He's
and
gonna
has
open
the
the
same-
door
he's
so to
gonna
get the
open
help.
door, so.
But I would think though, with the fact that if we've got the funding, there would be something that you could do that would be able to help, because you out there, been there, done that.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
you know where the problems are. You know how you can reach these kids.
Right.
Then why not?
Right. Yes.
And
ma'am.
I don't want to say it's just kids.
Oh no. And you know, like I was touching on earlier, the stigma in the black community.
Say
you
it.
know, when we back in the 90s, 80s, and you know, before me, you know, hey,
Oh, I was going to wonder how far you can go, because you see how young
I'm not
he is.
gonna go that far, but you know, like the main thing was, you know, we're strong people.
Right.
We defeated slavery. We defeated Jim Crow. You know, we don't need you know, either we're strong enough or pray it away.
Amen. That's
You
that.
know,
That's what we were raised up with.
That's what we were raised up with. But the mental illness is a part of the body. It's a part of the brain. It's a complex disease. And so, you know, now black people are being more open to it. And that's the calls that I'm getting from young black males now are great. I just had a call from someone, and he's like, I'm gonna drink myself to death. I need your help. I need your help.
So it's alcohol too.
Oh yes, ma'am. Oh yes, ma'am. Because I was an alcoholic, and
Get out.
yes, ma'am.
So I gotta clear my head, because I'm thinking just the drug, but alcohol is a drug.
Oh yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my goodness.
It's just a legal drug, in my opinion.
Exactly. I tell you, hold that thought.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
tell you guys, this is absolutely. I'm absorbing so much. I'm like a sponge today. I'm just absorbing it all. But listen, please, if you want to be a part of this show, 850-432-7768. You can call or text, and I guarantee you, you see he's filled with knowledge. And these are things that he has gone through and found a way to make it better for everybody. Stay close. We're going to continue this conversation with Jermaine Williams right here with Sonshine on Sonshine's Corner.
Empire Truck Sales, located at 2255 West Detroit Boulevard in Pensacola, is your Freightliner, Western Star, Detroit Diesel, and Cummins dealer for Northwest Florida. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., providing sales, service, and parts. Empire Truck Sales is also your Oasis dealer for Freightliner custom chassis RV and motorhome repairs. Running I-10 will get you in.
Many who consider facial plastic surgery are concerned their results will look unnatural. But with over 20 years of serving the Pensacola community, his thousands of satisfied patients have made Dr. Derek Jones a trusted reconstructive and facial plastic surgeon known for industry-leading results that look natural. Call 850-484-FACE to schedule a consultation at one of our locations in Pensacola and Gulf Breeze.
I'm Dr. Derek Jones. Trust your face to a facial plastic surgeon.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services is a one-stop shop because you can come get your windshield replaced, and right behind that replacement at the same appointment, we will calibrate the cameras, and when you leave, everything's ready to go. There's no need to go to the dealership, or there's no need to come back for another appointment. We just take care of it at one time. We put the customer first, and we strive to do everything right the first time.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services, your one-stop shop with same-day service.
Animal Allies is looking for volunteers, and there are many ways that you can help. From taking care of cats to using your computer and social media skills, any and all assistance is greatly appreciated. We have morning and afternoon shifts every day or help at adoption events. You can even foster a kitty at home. And it counts towards community service hours for bright futures. Find Animal Allies Florida on Facebook and Instagram, or go to aaflorida.org/volunteer.
Welcome back to Sunshine's Corner. Remember now, please be a part of this conversation. 850-432-7768. Text or call. You can talk with Jermaine and ask him questions as well, because I'm sure it's okay. Some people think, oh, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to do that. Please. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Help is something that we all need. And we were talking about how we talked about so much off camera. I'm like, oh my goodness, where do I go from here? But your practice,
Yes,
tell
ma'am.
me more about that.
Well, okay, so I'm a certified recovery peer specialist.
Okay.
And CRPS through the state of Florida. So to even become certified with that field, you have to have gone through substance use.
Oh, really?
And you have to have 2 years sober, and then you have to have a DCF level 2 background clearance. And you know, with addiction comes arrest. And Lord have mercy, mine took 1.5 years. I had so many arrests.
You need to stop.
But
You said that
I got it.
But
though.
look at you today, baby.
Yes, ma'am.
Look at you today.
Yes, I'm thankful for it. And you know, that's why, you know, you'll find a lot of either therapists, psychiatrists, or even people that CRPS, you know, dress up in suits and collars.
Right.
I'm always like this. I want to be the most relatable I can. Hats, t-shirts, you know. But so that's what I do. I help them recover from what they're doing. And, you know, like, I try not to go out the scope, because I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not those things. But, you know, I am knowledgeable, you know. And you know, when there's something that it hits a wall in my field, I have partners I pass them off to.
Oh, really?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent.
And throughout the state, you know, Zoom, I'm thankful for the pandemic for Zoom, because it leveled the playing field. So I have partners, like, again, I became sober in Jacksonville. I was trained in Jacksonville. I got certified in Jacksonville, and I had my first 3 jobs in this field in Jacksonville.
Really?
And I just recently moved back to Pensacola.
Well, I'm glad you're back home.
Yes, ma'am. The need for Pensacola. Every time, you know, like when I was over in Jacksonville and I get the numbers for opioid overdoses or anything like that, even though I'm paid to service Duval, my eyes go to Escambia first.
Of course.
And every time I'm in a big meet, and I addressed DCF as well last year, so I'm always an advocate for Escambia on Duval's dime.
I love it so. But you know, because you know, I think I read somewhere that Escambia County is number one or number 1.
Yes, ma'am. Per capita in overdose for opioid.
Number 1.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
Look at the chills going. I mean, that's astronomical to even think about that, because this place is not that big, but number 1.
Yes, ma'am.
And is it opioids?
Opioids is mainly due to fentanyl epidemic. So that's, you know, they have fentanyl now showing up in marijuana. It's in everything now.
I was talking with Hassan, I believe. He was telling me about that, and I was like, I said, I've gotten educated on that stuff.
Well, yes, ma'am. It only takes 3, you know, like salt
grains.
3 salt grains of fentanyl to take you out.
What?
Yes, ma'am. And the only thing that could bring you back is Narcan. I have Narcan, and I have also, I go to Jacksonville. I have a plug over there at DOH, and I bring back, every time I go about once every 60 days, and I bring back 5,000 fentanyl test strips. Where you, like, if it's weed, you break a little piece off, you put it in a little cap, a bottle cap, and you put water in it, and you put the fentanyl test strips in it, and they'll spit right back out in a matter of minutes if there's fentanyl present in the substance you're about to take. And that was illegal in Florida for so long. It just became legal now, because it used to be paraphernalia if you was caught with it. Something that'll save your life.
Okay. So what are you saying that's legal in Florida now? The
fentanyl test strips.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say fentanyl.
No,
Jesus.
No. And you know, you got the street fentanyl of people who didn't even pass high school chemistry mixing this stuff up. You know, it's terrible.
I'm so blown away, Jermaine. And I tell you, with this being so deadly, it breaks my heart.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I mean, like, it breaks my heart.
Yes, ma'am.
Because these, I mean, like, I see and but people don't know, because I understand you can't smell it. It has no taste. So how in the world are we gonna stop something like that?
It's just a lack of education. Here's another thing that's really harmful that a lot of people in Florida don't know. Even say if you do have Narcan, or if you see someone passed out from fentanyl, like there's many cases when you have, you know, people who are addicted to substance use, and they're all in a hotel together and they're doing drugs, and somebody just goes cold from fentanyl, and they're having experienced an overdose. People in the room, they leave, and they leave them to die. If they would call 911,
they could
possibly save their life. But what they don't know, that needs to be more educated, that Florida has a Good Samaritan law. So if you were to call 911, you would not be charged. No matter what's in that room, you would not be charged.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you said, okay, is there many people that know that?
Not many.
How can we get the people over us with the councilman, the law enforcement, everybody to get that knowledge out?
Well, we need to take some of that opioid abatement fund, or we need to march down the Northwest Florida health system and let them know that we need money for education and prevention.
Right.
Yes,
because I think now education is knowledge. Because once you know something, it's different than when you think you're guessing. You know what I'm saying? And because it's like I have to say this because I say this all the time. Sometimes these people don't know what they're getting into, because I think marijuana is legal here now.
Yeah. Well, medical.
Medical.
Yes, ma'am.
But I smell it everywhere I go.
Yes, ma'am.
I get a contact.
You probably get a citation for it around here now. It's
not
really?
Even,
I don't even think that not unless you just have one of them police that have to meet their quota or something. But but I don't think it's such the huge deal that it used to be.
Really?
A lot of my clients have their medical marijuana cards,
So that's okay. Now, is medical marijuana a help with mental health?
It can be.
Because of the relaxation?
Yes, ma'am. It's just different because when I'm sober from everything.
Exactly.
I cannot smoke weed because it gives me panic attacks. It has me think too much, and then it really triggers my IED and PTSD. I will go back in the past and start thinking of things that I did while I was on drugs as if it was present, and then I'm there. I'm in that moment. That's what PTSD do. Post-traumatic stress disorder gets you right back in the moment of trauma.
Really?
So, but I couldn't do it. But but a lot of my clients, the marijuana helps them, with their whatever symptoms, they're
experiencing right then.
And like I always tell them, and that goes for anyone, in most cases you won't be healed from your mental illness, but the name of the game is to manage your symptoms at a high level, And
it's strong in our community.
Very.
Oh my goodness.
Very, and the miseducation is even stronger.
What are some things that, let's say, if I'm at home or if my kids doing, because I could look for? Let me ask this: is it if the child is affected, maybe the parents are affected too?
Oh yes, ma'am. Dr. Rachel Yuta at Mount Sinai in New York, she did a extreme study that trauma is passed down through genetics.
Really?
Epigenetics. So if you think about the African American community, the Jewish community that experienced the Holocaust or slavery, Jim Crow, those things are passed down. And that's just trauma.
Really?
Not to even think about anything else.
So if mama has it and don't know it, passed down to children have it,
it's a strong possibility.
So how do we fight that to get them the knowledge? How can we help?
I think we have to put a priority on the mental health like we do the physical health. I think that's the number one, because I just don't get why the mental health is second class to physical health, because the brain tells the body what to do.
Absolutely. Just like I'm so into this physical health. So
No, which is, it's all makeup. It's a makeup. They go hand in hand. So I think exactly what, I've been listening to you on the radio for a long time, so I know your boot camp. But, that's a way of, boosting your mental health is to go out there and work out and to do those things. So they go hand in hand. But I think that, because not that long ago, mental health wasn't even covered.
Exactly.
By insurance. So it's, I think in the last 30 years, maybe.
My. But Jermaine, you've done so much. Now, we've talked about that. I want everybody to know that you're an author also.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, look at these titles you got now. He's an author also. You wrote a book.
Yes, ma'am.
And what was that book about? I remember when I signed it. You signed that book?
Yes, ma'am. It was, it's called My Brother, the Devil and Me, and it's a fictional story based on the book of Revelations, which I just wrote a screenplay for. Talked to different networks about that, and now I've put it as an episodic miniseries, so we're still talking. And I also have a reality show called Rescue Addiction, where I lead a team of therapists and mental health professionals, and we go into crisis situations and we turn those around. And I wish I could speak on some of the meetings I had about that.
Speak on it.
I wish I could. I wish I could, but it's gonna be okay. We're gonna be all right in that aspect. But there were, we filmed the pilot episode here. So how that came about was very interesting because I had the documentary about my substance use, misuse, and my family told that story of the documentary that won 4 awards around the world, which is it's on YouTube. It's called "I Had to Change the Story of Jermaine J. Williams," and
and that's on YouTube.
Yes, ma'am.
So listen up, everybody.
I had to change the story of Jermaine J. Williams.
Wow.
And so at the last film festival, the last stop, I won one of the best of fest there, and I talked to all these networks that were there. And they asked me, what else do you have? And I started as a rapper. That's how I got addicted to drugs, as a rapper. And it was like, well, what else do you have besides the documentary? I had nothing. So I just came up with Rescue Addiction on the spot. And I think I credit my rapping from back in the days to quick thinking. And they was like, oh, we'd like to see it. And I'm thinking in my head, me too. I would like to see it. But I went out and raised about $60,000, came back to Pensacola and worked with a young man named Tay. And he played Milton football at Milton High School, went off to college up north, got hurt, was prescribed pills, and that turned into a full-fledged run of addiction.
What?
And we came back, we helped the entire family, because that's the thing that I learned when I went to rehab and through my thing. Like, when I got sober, I might have been healed from what I did, but my family wasn't healed from what I did to them. And so what I did was, I had the mom had her own coaching therapist, grandparents, and then we all came together. Then after the show wrapped, I put the family through 6 weeks of family therapy. And he's over a year sober now.
Really?
Since the wrapping of that show. So we've talked to everybody. I could talk about some of it. We've talked to Wheat TV. We talked to Steinberg Entertainment, which they do a lot of shows that you see, Big Fish, a lot of networks, and some people are still, it's the I guess it's the fear of mental illness and addiction. It's just something that you deal with in this field. When you make entertainment wise, it's fearful. But there are some networks out there that are loving the idea, and we're close. We're 2 years in working on this, and so, we'll see what goes on. And, I'm a screenwriter as well, and I have a movie called PTSD. Everything I do, I try to, touch on the mental illness, make it normalized and make it entertaining, but educate at the same time. So hopefully we'll be shooting that soon.
No hope he's going to be doing that, guys. I mean, isn't this a lot of information we're getting today? But do you see what can happen? I mean, look at what he's doing. Look at the steps that he's taken, that he's standing out, being that voice to help those that do not know how they can get help, for those that are affected. We're not done yet. We're going to be right back talking with more with Jermaine William, because he's got a lot to talk about right here on Sunshine's Corner. Need a new outfit for a special occasion? Look no further than Viola's Men's Apparel. Viola's has been providing the latest styles and accessories in Pensacola for over 20 years now. We have clothes for every occasion, and we offer consultations and group discounts. You can trust that our care, quality, and class will be unmatched. Viola's Men's Apparel, for all of your menwear needs.
This is Wayne at Icon Automotive in Robertsdale, Alabama, and I wanted to tell you more about our powertrain warranty forever. It comes with any vehicle we sell that has 80,000 miles or less at no additional cost to you. We put our vehicles through a tough safety and mechanical inspection before it can have the powertrain warranty forever, giving you a peace of mind with your purchase. This warranty is good anywhere in the country, and it covers 100% of parts and labor with no mileage limit, and is covered as long as you own the vehicle. Come pick out your dealership car at non-dealership pricing with the powertrain warranty forever at Icon Automotive.
Watch a new episode of Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m., hosted by Sergeant Melanie Peterson and David Craig. Your tips may be eligible for a cash reward, featuring items about officer training, various aspects of police work, and crime prevention information. You'll hear about upcoming family-friendly engagement events as well. Don't miss Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m.
Hi, my name is Brett McCabe. This is my wife Tanya, and we're the owners of Pensacola AC and Auto Service Center.
From the moment you walk in the door, we are here to take care of you. Honesty and excellence are the standard of our team. Our goal is to give you peace of mind from oil changes to AC repair. All of our repairs come with a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We have a clean, welcoming waiting room with free Wi-Fi. When you leave here, you will have peace of mind. Come visit us and experience auto repair from people who care.
And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner. We've got a fantastic conversation going on today. And with May being Mental Health Awareness Month, I am learning so much. And Jermaine, I tell you, you've opened up my eyes. When you said addiction and mental health, how they connect, they go together. I mean, that is something that, listen, my dear people, we need to grab a hold of this. And with Escambia County being as high as they are, we need to be putting more emphasis on how we can get the funds to get the people who need the funds to get the help that they need.
Yes, ma'am.
Otherwise, the problem's not going anywhere.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I mean, what do you suggest, or how can, tell the people what you think we need to do? Just be real.
Well, to me, I think that we need to talk to our county commissioners, who's ever your representative, city council, but more so of the county commissioner over the city council, because the county deals directly with Tallahassee, and that's where the money flows, you know. And we need to let them know that we need help in this, and we need you to help us, and also remind them that, you know, your job is temporary. We're your boss.
Exactly.
We can vote you out.
That's right.
You know.
That's right.
And put a high priority on this.
Absolutely. Because as you see that with the problem that we are encountering right here in Pensacola, you would think that will be top of mind. You know?
You would think. And you would think. There's one in every family. There's one in every family. Everyone has someone that's struggling with mental illness.
Right.
Or substance misuse.
Right.
So, yeah, I feel like, you know, everybody knows somebody that's dealing with this problem. And you know, when we were younger, I know when I was younger, people would just be like, oh, you know, that's just crazy such and such.
Yeah.
You know? But crazy such and such is a person that has dreams, that is very smart, that could do certain things, but he's struggling with a mental illness that's kicking his butt.
That's right.
And all he needs is a little help.
You said something powerful there, that you're dealing with something you want to do better, but with the mental illness, you got to have the help so you can get that help to get over that, to get to the point to do what you know that you have in you to do.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that parents and loved ones, or whoever it may be, let's not look over that. I believe when we put our resources together, I'm talking about people too.
Yes, ma'am.
Ain't nothing we can't do.
Absolutely. And one thing that, you know, most people that look over, they skim over really quick is, you know, most people that die by suicide are struggling with mental illness, and they're just tired. And those symptoms really, yes, that's, even though I've been through, you know, everyone knows me for addiction, but my top tier skill is suicide prevention and a crisis intervention. Crisis intervention is the 988 suicide calls. The lifeline is what it's called, 988. I was one of their best persons that picked up the phone. I was on the top tier when the most severe calls came through. You know, I lost some, but, you know, and it's hard. You know, I've been in situations when I was the last person that
they talked
to.
Oh my God, that sends just chills through me. When a person is reaching out for help with that mental illness, with the suicide, what is it when they're reaching out? Like, for instance, when they're talking to you, what is it that causing them to get to that point with the mental illness? What are they thinking? Some of the things.
Well, you know, my thing is, no person that dies by suicide, in my opinion, it's not just one thing. It's a lot of things piled in. There's one, you know, if you think of a pie graph, you know, it's going to be one thing that takes up the amount, but there's a lot of things that's, you know, and then those things, handling those things, you know, is affected by the symptoms of a mental illness, whether it's diagnosed or undiagnosed. Because, you know, just the sun gonna shine. And as we've seen over these past couple of days, it's gonna be overcast of clouds. Just because those clouds there don't mean the sun ain't.
That's right.
You know, so just because you're not diagnosed don't mean that mental illness is not there. It's going to be there. You know, like just like with God, whether you believe him or not.
He there.
He there.
No doubt about it.
So, you know, I just say, like, you know, the most dangerous thing is when people are undiagnosed, you know, and when you go and get a mental evaluation and they come back out and say this, just like any doctor of physical health, go get a second opinion, you know, go get a second opinion, because I get booked for speaking all around the country. I just got back from Seattle speaking out there, and I told this story. The stigma in the black community is very heavy. And I remember I called my brother. My brother is like, our dad died when we were 6. So he's a year and a half older than me, but I look at him as a father figure. And I called him and I said, hey man, they say I got bipolar 2, intermittent explosive disorder, PTSD. And he was like, man, don't believe that. They just want money out there and, you know, all these things. So I said, let me read you the Google definition of intermittent explosive disorder. And I read it to him. He said, oh, that's spot on. You need to do whatever they're telling you to do.
But you know what? When you say that, there are a lot of us, just like your brother, will say, oh, man, there ain't nothing wrong with you.
Oh, I was one of them. I was one of them before, you know, all of this. You know? And because, you know, even I remember some people used to tell me when I was suicidal a lot, you know.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's what... You know, when I was younger, I was even suicidal, and people were like, oh, that's what white people do. That's what white people... No, that's what people do. You know, but it's just the stigma.
Do you know we still hear that, though?
Oh, yeah. I know we do.
We still hear that.
We do.
Black people don't do that, but white people do that.
Yeah. And no, that's not the truth. You know, that's not the truth. We've had a few prominent people recently, you know, that died by suicide. And you know, and you'll hear me continue to say die by suicide because I never say committed suicide, because you commit a crime, you know.
Oh, I see the difference.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
And you know, I just think that's just like heartless to say commit suicide, because that was somebody suffering. And so I would say die by suicide.
Absolutely. Do you find that, because we're talking about this stigma that people have, when you said that, you know, some people say, well, that's what white folks do, that's not what black people do, black people don't do that, white people do that. But don't we have some of the issues? Let's turn that vice versa.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Don't we have that too? Maybe some on the white side would say, no, black people do that, not them. But they got the same issues in their home.
We all people.
Same that.
We all people, we all human, we all, you know, we do things slightly different, but a lot
when
of
it all
the
come
same.
down to the core.
Yes, ma'am.
We are the same.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I mean, do you have, whereas, let me ask you this. When I watch Law and Order a lot, one of my favorite shows. And I know that's just a TV show, but I love Law and Order.
I love it too.
I mean, like, ICE. What you say, brother? You know? But no, when I say this, it's like, when there's a person that with the suicide, is there a way that in the home that can be seen, caught, to help, to maybe prevent? Hard to do.
In some cases, you know, you'll see someone that normally is always on the go, like to go out to the club, go out to eat, and for the last 2 weeks, it's hard for them to get out of bed. You know, like, or someone like me, I'm a Florida State fan, go Noles, and I have a lot of Florida State gear. But but if I start to give those things away, you know, and my family know I love this stuff, then that's a red flag. There's going to be red flags with the suicide prevention. You know, you look for certain things. Then there's some that just, there was no signs at all.
And it just, but they were holding it all within.
Yes, ma'am, because you know, like Kate Spade, you know, the designer. You know, that so many people that perceive to have it all.
Absolutely.
Struggling with something, to where money and fame and whatever, their wildest dreams, you know, another person's wildest dreams that they may seem to have, it's just not enough.
Oh my God.
And that's something that, you know, I don't want to just say she was dealing with mental illness, but if I had to bet everything I had, I'm sure she was.
Oh my goodness. With all that you do, Jermaine, and all that you have come through to where you are today, how is it that you hold yourself together to make sure that this message that we're conveying is conveyed and to get the help that the people need? How is it with you that you stay focused, that you just...
I don't know. My mentor in this back in Jacksonville, both of them, they really get on me because I don't do self-care. Self-care is important for everybody.
Okay.
Except me. But self-care keeps you grounded. I mean, I've heard that I do self-care things. But you know, I don't know. It's a mission for me, just built for it. Now there are some times where I need to sleep when I don't. You know, I've just been on the go like this last month. I've just been a straight month of go.
Right.
And as you can see, you know, every day the gap widens between the have and have-nots of mental health resources.
Right.
And I know what I can provide, so I have to work extra harder to keep the gap just staying big and not huge.
I hear you. You
know, because it's never going to, one person's not going to shrink the gap. So you just got to do what you can.
Listen, did you hear that? He is doing such phenomenal work. And I tell you, she tells me, go to break. But I tell you, but I've been wanting to just keep talking.
Sorry.
But no, you keep going, because this is something we all need to hear. Again, I say that if you've got questions for Jermaine, if there's just something you just need to know, how you can get in touch with him, how you can just make this even better, call us up today at 850-432-7768, or you can text us at that very same number. But I know if you're like me, you're so engulfed you don't want to stop. That's how I feel about it. Let me say thank you for Pensacola. Oh God, my girl Deja, she's going to be coming in with me, because Pensacola Parks and Recreation, thank you for doing what you do to make this show even better. We're going to be talking with her as well right here on Sunshine's Corner.
I just remembered it's election day. Are you going to vote?
I don't know. I don't think I'll have time today.
Millions of eligible voters in America never make it to the polls or even register to vote. When you don't vote, you're letting other people make decisions for you and pick the things your taxes will pay for. Voting is more than a civic duty. It gives you a voice about the priorities and the future of your community and our nation. Voting gives you a seat at the table.
Do you want to create but don't know where to start? Our new fabric line will inspire you. If you can dream it, we can help you make it. From using kits that include everything you would need, to taking classes to create something more personalized, Daryl's is the place for you. No matter if you're just beginning or experienced, Daryl's has you covered. Find us at 6705 North Davis Highway. Open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays.
The Reesburg Institute, Pensacola's Ear, Nose, Throat, and Voice Center. We welcome you to visit us at our convenient Davis Highway location in Pensacola. At the Reesburg Institute, we offer the most advanced treatment available in a calm, stress-free environment. Since 2014, we've performed over 1,000 cases in office of balloon sinus surgery, as well as septoplasty and nasal procedures using oral sedation. The in-office procedures result in a faster healing time. Visit us and feel the difference.
Hello, my name is Eric, and this was my first visit to Little John's. The selection, the pricing here, and the customer service were outstanding. I would definitely recommend. The staff was very friendly, and they'll get you what you need.
Hi, this is John with Little John's Big and Tall here in Pensacola, Florida at 5700 North Davis Highway. Check us out at littlejohnsbigandtall.com, where we can take care of you with extra large up to 14X and large tall to 6X tall.
Well, welcome back to Sunshine's Corner with my fantabulous, that's my new word, guest, Jermaine Williams. And he's talking about mental health. I mean, not just mental health, drug addiction, and what we need to do to make sure that we get the help for the people in the community who needs it, how we can get the funding that we need so that all of this can go on and do better for the future, so our people, mainly I think also for our community,
yes,
with it being such a high number in our community that we need this help. I mean, I just think we got to put all these resources together somehow or another so we can get that help that we need, and then that will lessen some of the problems.
Yes, ma'am, it really would.
You know, but we were talking about with the fact that you've gotten over the drug addiction, you've been clean now for 9 years, and look how much you've accomplished in that time, and yet moving higher and higher. But you were talking about how this strong thing, fentanyl.
Yes, ma'am.
How people don't even know what they're getting.
No, they don't. And again, the fentanyl test strips will help out with that. But there's something It depends on who you are. You know, I was gonna say something new on the rise, but it's not that new. But it's coming into light on the national stage. It's where they're mixing fentanyl with horse tranquilizer. Has different names.
A horse tranquilizer.
And it eats your flesh.
What?
It has the same dangers of fentanyl, but it's flesh eating. So.
When you say flesh eating, what, it eats it up?
Yes, ma'am. Well, you can see the bones, or
oh Jesus,
it's bad. It's bad. There's some more stuff that's out there on the rise. There's rumblings that people are concerned about. That's about 20 times worse than fentanyl. So
what?
It's getting there. Evolution of drugs. It's coming.
My God, I think with that. When a person is addicted, will they take whatever, just like even with that stuff, when you don't know, you just gotta have it, right? So you gotta make way to get it, right? So we gotta go up the ladder, because there's a person up there that's making sure that, I call it the leader at the top, that's making the big money from selling this stuff to get it down to the man on the street, right? How do we make a way to get to that big man? Is there something like that we can get to that person that's hard?
It's hard. It's hard, but I will say, and I know this is going to sound funny, but there are some drug dealers that come to me to get the test strips, and they test their stuff before they sell it.
Get out of here. Well, thank God for that.
And then,
They trust you.
Yes, ma'am. And they want to make sure they're not killing people.
Exactly.
But, but I will say this, to answer that question, I could speak for Duval County. When I was working that job and we was distributing those fentanyl test strips and Narcan, Narcan went fast. Narcan can reverse an overdose for fentanyl, not the one with the horse tranquilizer. I don't think that can reverse that. But a lot of people wanted the fentanyl test strips more than they wanted the Narcan, because they do take time
to make sure
and test it. And so there's honor amongst the addictive community.
Really?
Nobody wants to die.
Of course not.
But they do want to get high.
Hello.
So, and the reason why they want to get high is not no one's place to judge, but there is, because you go out and you talk to them, someone that's really, as you could say, strung out, and he's like, hey, do you have any mental diagnosis? Almost my first question. Oh yeah, I got borderline personality disorder. I got this, that. You'll find in this comment.
But then what they have to do is to make that way to get the help, to go to therapy to get.
Yes, ma'am. And that's just the beginning of it, to find your diagnosis. You have someone like me, when I was going through, I wanted to get better. Everybody wants to get better. Nobody just wants to be out here struggling. But it takes a lot of work and commitment. And sometimes they're just like, it's easier to get high.
Really?
The hard work is too hard.
Really?
And I'm not judging that either. So I'm not going to be judgmental.
Of course not. Because there's something in that's an illness there, and if a person don't have the funding to get that.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be a hindrance there.
And then what makes it even worse, when you have people say they do break through the cracks and they break through those waiting lists, and then they go and get the help that is not, private insurance don't pay for it. Then you have the people on the front line who's burnt out, have way more people, and they're treating them like an addict. They're treating them like what they've been through, with no heart, no compassion, and that opens a whole nother problem.
Oh my God!
When they're there to get the help.
Unbelievable. Let's say now when I like to look at the top, because I want people to realize it's not always the person down here that get addicted. No. Yeah, some lawyers, doctors, and teachers, all that kind of stuff. That addicted as well, and but maybe have a little bit more money that they can get a little, get more into it. How would you tell people how to, deal with stuff like that, and not just try to put people in a category as if, you nobody because you do drugs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am. I just think, one thing that we don't do as a society these days, we don't lead with compassion.
Okay.
And I just think just being a compassionate person, there's some pastors that want you to pray it away. There's people and law enforcement that wants to really stick it to you hard when they find these certain things, but when that pastor or that law enforcement or have someone in their family, they're sympathetic, they want to get the help. When you see people on the street struggling, see your family in them.
Absolutely.
You know? And
That's right.
I think
because
that
it can happen to
go a long
anybody.
way. It can happen to anyone.
Now, Jermaine, if a person were to get in touch with you, they just to talk with you, to help, I mean, have you speak somewhere? I mean,
yes, ma'am.
What would they do? How would they get in touch with you?
I don't even know.
Go on social media, you gonna see it.
Now,
Go to
Facebook, you know, email me,
right.
You know, give me a call, and you know, you have all my information.
Exactly.
And
if you need his information, I got it.
Yes. But my email is Jermaine, 4.williams at yahoo.com.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you for what you're doing.
No, continue to do what you're doing.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it is making a difference. Because I see you. I mean, I'll click on this. Let me read what's up with this. And all that you're doing, it is helping somebody else. And I thank God for you, for what you have done and how you step out to help others.
Thank you.
Don't let nothing stop you. And
Yes,
I'm going to
ma'am.
be waiting to watch that on TV.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, because it's coming.
Oh, it is.
I know it's coming.
I'm going to invite you on the set now.
Oh, come. Tell me this. I can wear my real hair.
I appreciate this. I really do. Thank you, because whenever you can get the information out to the masses, you know,
It
and
works.
you don't have to go from person to person or Facebook post to Facebook post.
Exactly.
And I'm just happy for you, and I'm happy for Blab TV for what you all are doing and getting not just my message, but everybody's
message
out.
going out.
It's-
Thank you,
yes,
Jermaine.
ma'am.
And listen to this, everybody. I tell you, when you're having a show like this, the time goes by so fast.
Yes.
I mean, it's been an hour already, like it's been 15 minutes. But look, I just want to tell you, as I do every single day, never, ever, ever lose your focus. Always remember, if you keep God first, I guarantee you're going to be a total success. Now, I'll be back tomorrow so we can do it all over again. So 9 o'clock in the morning, make sure you tune in right here, Blab TV. I'm going to do what I do and do what I do best. Talk to you about things that's hard to talk about. So until then, my friends, know that I love you with a perfect kind of love. Keep shining while I'm gone. Thank you, Jermaine.
Sunshine's Corner, brought to you by Pensacola Parks and Recreation.